The alien fleet had never faced anything like this. 500 warships, cruisers, destroyers, and dreadnoughts had been dispatched to capture or eliminate a single human. Every admiral aboard those ships believed in their overwhelming superiority. Numbers, firepower, coordination, they had it all. But the human was not ordinary. Lieutenant Commander Cale Wren's hand rested on the control console of the sleek black frigate Shadowhawk, a scout trailing the human's path. The screens flickered with motion data, jump points, patrol grids, and predicted escape routes. And yet, the human moved with precision, vanishing from one sector and appearing in another, leaving no trace but chaos in his wake. Impossible, Cale muttered. One human against 500 ships, how? His captain, a tall alien with segmented armor plates, growled. He's a weapon, and he will die before the sun sets. Deploy the next wave of interceptors. Meanwhile, deep within an asteroid belt, the human, call him Jaren Ward, paused only long enough to observe the approaching forces. He was not afraid. Fear had been drilled out of him during centuries of specialized training. He had survived planetary collapse, ambushes, and fleets 10 times the size of this one. Scanning the grid, he identified the weakest points. 2 destroyers straying too close to a mining station, a supply convoy moving without escort, and a command cruiser attempting to flank him. Each presented an opportunity. Each would fall before they could react. Jaren activated a pulse jammer, a small device designed to scramble targeting arrays in a localized radius. A cruiser's main cannons misfired, destroying one of its own supply ship. Explosions cascaded in sequence, and the fleet hesitated. Their confidence faltered. From his vantage point, Jaren smiled. They think quantity matters. It doesn't. The aliens regrouped, coordinating multiple strike formations. Massive fleets converged on his position, attempting to corner him. But Jaren anticipated every vector, every jump point, every possible escape route they believed he would take. Using small, rapid spacecraft hidden within asteroid fields, he executed hit-and-run strikes, destroying capital ships and leaving confusion behind. In one daring maneuver, he lured an entire squadron of cruisers into a gravitational trap around a dense asteroid cluster. As the warships collided with debris and one another, Jaren's ship slipped through a side corridor, emerging on the far side of the fleet untouched. Admiral Cale watched the battle unfold on the holomap, disbelief written across his features. He's a single human, Cale whispered. How can one human do this? The human's reputation was growing faster than the fleet could respond. Each strike was precise, each retreat calculated, and each enemy ship lost only increased the fear spreading across the alien command rank. Jaren paused briefly, taking stock. The aliens were powerful, but predictable. Numbers could overwhelm the weak, but humans exploited flaws. He didn't just survive. He turned the hunt into a trap, ensuring every move by his pursuers worked against them. And as the first wave of enemy ships exploded in a chain reaction of miscalculations, one truth became clear across the galaxy. Underestimating a human, even a single one, was fatal. Jaren Ward smiled once more, eyes gleaming through the cockpit visor. Let them come, he whispered. They've already lost. The alien armada had grown restless. 500 warships should have been more than enough to corner a single human. Yet Jaren Ward moved through their patrol grids like a ghost, striking, vanishing, and reappearing where he was least expected. Panic began to ripple through the enemy command rank. From the bridge of the alien flagship Imperius, Admiral Krell barked orders. Concentrate fire. Do not allow him to escape. Cut off all jump points. I want him dead. The fleet surged forward, but Jaren anticipated every maneuver. He had studied their fleet compositions, their communication delays, their predictable patterns. Using microjumps between asteroid fields, he lured a squadron of destroyers into a narrow canyon of rock. The enemy ship's own mass and inertia became their downfall, crushing themselves as Jaren slipped through unscathed. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Venn on the alien flagship, "he is exploiting gravitational anomalies in the belt. Our interceptors cannot follow without risking collisions." Krell's mandibles clenched. "He's only one. How can a single human wreak such havoc?" Jaren didn't stop. Every movement was calculated, every strike precise. Supply ships were ambushed and detonated to create debris fields, scattering pursuing vessels. Railguns and missile arrays of the aliens misfired or collided with wreckage. Each loss increased chaos in the fleet, and morale began to fracture. In a daring strike, Jaren targeted a command cruiser attempting to coordinate the fleet. Using a combination of high-velocity railfire and hacking protocols, he disabled the cruiser's shields and communications. Explosions rippled through the vessel as it collided with smaller escorts, creating a domino effect. The alien fleet's command structure was disrupted, their coordination breaking down. "Impossible," Kale muttered from his own observation point. "One human against this much firepower and he's winning." But the human wasn't just surviving, he was teaching the galaxy a lesson. The aliens had assumed that overwhelming force would guarantee victory. They hadn't accounted for human ingenuity, adaptability, and ruthless efficiency under pressure. Jaren paused briefly in orbit around a small, rocky moon. From this vantage point, he calculated the next phase, exploiting their confusion to force them into a trap that would cripple a third of the armada without losing a single human ship. A single misstep by the aliens, and it would be catastrophic. The first trap was set. Alien warships followed what they thought was an escape route into a dense asteroid corridor. Jaren activated a series of automated mines, tethered energy nets, and gravitational distortions. Explosions lit up the void as ships collided and were shredded. Panic spread throughout the remaining vessels. In the cockpit, Jaren exhaled slowly. "They sent 500 warships after one human," he said, voice low but steady. "They forgot one thing: humans never surrender. And humans never stop fighting." The galaxy began to watch in awe as reports of his exploits spread. News feeds across Allied systems described impossible feats: a single human evading a massive fleet, destroying capital ships with unmatched precision, and turning superior numbers into a liability. The hunt had become a slaughter, and humanity's legend had only just begun. The alien fleet had begun to realize their mistake. 500 warships, coordinated with the best admirals in their empire, could not contain one human. Each day, more ships were lost to precise ambushes, calculated traps, and strikes so swift that the enemy barely registered them. Jaren Ward hovered in orbit above a jagged asteroid cluster, surveying the chaos he had wrought. From this vantage, he could see the shattered remnants of cruisers and destroyers drifting like broken toys. Their leaders were panicking, issuing desperate orders that contradicted one another. Communication lines had become clogged, and morale had cratered. He didn't move recklessly. Every action was calculated. Using intercepted signals from the alien fleet, Jaren fed false coordinates, creating decoys and lures. Entire squadrons were funneled into ambushes where automated mines, energy nets, and micro-railguns awaited. Ships collided with debris or were torn apart by kinetic strikes before they even realized they were trapped. The turning point came when Jaren discovered a lightly guarded carrier fleet at the rear of the armada. Within those carriers were experimental weapons the aliens had been developing in secret. A single strike could neutralize a third of the fleet instantly. Jaren smiled. Timing was everything. He initiated a chain of microjumps, dodging enemy fire and weaving through asteroid fields, until he was in position. With one precise salvo, the carriers were destroyed. The chain reaction obliterated nearby escorts, sending waves of panic through the alien rank. Admiral Krell's voice cracked over the comms. He's manipulating our fleet." "How?" "One human. But there was more." Hidden behind a nebula, Jaren revealed a small fleet of support ships, long undetected by the alien scouts. They emerged like phantoms, joining the battle with railguns and kinetic weapons perfectly synchronized. What had once been a hunt was now a massacre. 500 warships, reduced by his cunning and the hidden human reinforcements, were now on the defensive. Jaren's movements were almost surgical. One ship here, a command cruiser there. Each strike destabilized the enemy, forcing them into predictable, lethal traps. By nightfall, the alien fleet was fragmented, their formations shattered, and their leadership disoriented. From across the galaxy, observers watched in disbelief. One human had taken a fleet of 500 and turned them into a disorganized, crippled force. The story spread rapidly. Humans were not only resilient, they were dangerous beyond comprehension. Jaren exhaled as he watched the alien command ship attempt a retreat. "One human," he whispered. 500 warships, and they still underestimated me. The tide had turned. The hunter had become the executioner, and the galaxy was beginning to understand a terrifying truth. Even a single human could change the course of war. The remnants of the alien armada scrambled in disarray. 500 warships, once the pride of an empire, were now fractured, leaderless, and vulnerable. Every attempt to regroup was anticipated and countered by Jaren Ward and his hidden support fleet. Humanity's precision, strategy, and ruthlessness had turned the hunt into a complete slaughter. From the bridge of the human flagship Shadowhawk, Jaren monitored the enemy movement. Red blips scattered across the holomap signified ships attempting to flee or reform. He smiled coldly. They thought numbers would overwhelm me. They didn't account for human ingenuity. Using the debris field from previous ambushes, Jaren funneled enemy ships into preset kill zones. Orbital railguns, kinetic platforms, and prototype weapon arrays struck with perfect timing. Entire squadrons disintegrated before they could maneuver. Command cruisers were destroyed in chains of explosions, sending waves of panic through the surviving vessels. Lieutenant Venn, observing from the alien flagship Imperius, could barely speak. "Admiral, the human, he's destroying everything." Admiral Krell's mandibles clenched in disbelief. "Impossible. One human cannot." Another volley of precision strikes cut him off. The flagship's shields collapsed, and critical systems overloaded. The command chain fractured completely. The surviving alien vessels had no direction, no cohesion, and no hope. Jaren's tactics were flawless. He anticipated every retreat, every defensive maneuver, every desperate attempt to regroup. One by one, the alien warships fell, either destroyed in traps or fleeing into asteroid fields where they met their end. The galaxy's largest armada had been systematically dismantled by a single human and a handful of support ships. Finally, the alien flagship attempted an escape jump. Jaren calculated the trajectory in seconds, activating a high-velocity rail strike that tore through the hull before the jump could complete. The ship disintegrated in a blinding explosion, marking the end of organized resistance. Jaren exhaled, eyes scanning the holomap. The armada was annihilated. The few survivors fled into uncharted space, crippled and leaderless. Humanity had not only survived, they had delivered a decisive, unforgettable victory. He turned to the support fleet commanders. "Prepare communications," he said. "The galaxy must understand one thing. Underestimating humanity, even a single human, is fatal. Let this be a warning." From Earth to the farthest colonies, the message spread. Humans are intelligent, adaptive, and utterly relentless when provoked. The galaxy now knew that even a single human could defy impossible odds, outsmart a fleet of 500 warships, and deliver justice on a scale no alien species could ignore. The hunt was over. The hunter had become the unstoppable force, and the legend of one human against 500 warships would echo across the stars for centuries. Silence filled the void where 500 warships had once hunted a single human. The alien armada was shattered, their fleets scattered, their command structures annihilated. Humanity had turned the galaxy's most formidable hunt into a devastating defeat. Jaren Ward hovered aboard the Shadowhawk, surveying the battlefield. Holographic displays revealed drifting wreckage, broken formations, and fleeing survivors. Not a single human ship had fallen. Every move had been precise, every strike calculated. The hunt had become a message. Underestimating humanity, even a single human, was fatal. Across the galaxy, news feeds relayed the astonishing story. Civilizations that had once whispered about humanity's extinction now watched in awe and fear. One human had defeated an entire armada, and in doing so, reminded the universe that humans were intelligent, adaptable, and merciless when provoked. From Earth, the High Council issued a galaxy-wide statement. Let this serve as a warning. Any act of aggression against humans, any attempt to commit genocide or subjugate our people, will be met with precise and total retaliation. Humanity endures, and humanity prevails. Jaren reflected on the battle. He had survived against impossible odds, but the lesson was greater than any personal victory. The galaxy had witnessed the strength, cunning, and relentless resolve of humans. 500 warships had been no match for one human's skill, strategy, and determination. Lieutenant Venn, watching the reports with colleagues, whispered, "They'll remember this for generations. One human defeated 500 warships." Jaren's gaze remained steady. "They'll remember more than that. They'll remember that humans never surrender. They'll remember that humans strike back, and when we do not hold back." Humanity's legend had been forged. One human had defied impossible odds, reshaped a war, and sent a message to the galaxy. Intelligence, adaptability, and relentless courage could turn even the smallest force into an unstoppable weapon. The alien survivors fled into the unknown, carrying tales of a single human who had changed the course of the battle and humankind's unshakable place in the cosmos. Jaren Ward smiled beneath his visor, eyes scanning the stars. Let the galaxy learn this lesson well. Humanity is not to be underestimated. Humanity endures. Humanity prevails. And across the void, the story of one human versus 500 warships would echo forever, a testament to the unstoppable spirit of humanity.